Overcomer is now in theaters, and it is about a high school basketball coach that volunteers to coach a troubled team in a long distance run. And the main character is played by Alex Kendrick, who, for those of you who don't know, he actually directed this movie. Alex Kendrick is a director that in the Christian community is pretty famous because he directed such hits as Facing the Giants, Flywheel, Fireproof, War Room. War Room is the only one of his movies I haven't seen, but the other ones I've seen, and he's very big in the Christian community. I will say that much. And his movies, they always know how to hit those beats that that audience wants. That's okay because that's what the audience wants. Me personally, I'm not gonna lie, those movies I'm not the biggest fans of. I grew up with them. Not gonna lie, I did grow up with them, but I'm not the biggest fans of them in retrospect. I noticed that they're very preachy and they're not really well done, and they're money makers. They make good money, but they're just not my movies. And I'm not saying they're like when I say not my movies, I'm just saying like they're not movies that if someone's like, oh yeah, do you think they're good? I'd be like, no. And that's why Overcomer I really wasn't excited for it, along with the fact that the trailer really didn't interest me. It wasn't like those movies were courageous where like the trailers was kind of like, could be good. Um, it was the type of situation where I was very nervous, especially given that I haven't really seen that many Christian movies that impressed me, other than like Hacksaw Ridge, which some people might not even consider a Christian movie. I do, given the main character is a Christian. But regardless, not to get off track, this movie started off with a establishing shot of the school, and the camera is going into the school, and it goes into the school and into the gym, and I was like, "Holy cow, that was actually good." And then there's some shots of the kids as the coach is talking to them. I was like, this is good. This is good cinematography. And then the rest of the movie happens. Guys, this movie, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's still really bad. And let me digress and get into it. So I respect the Kendrick brothers, the fact that they are able to take $1 million budget, maybe even less in some cases, and they end up making like 30 to 40 million dollars, sometimes even more. Like that's crazy. That's profitable. So it's respectable in that regard. What's not respectable, for me at least, is that they know they don't really have to try with the story or filmmaking because there's an audience that's already there for the messages and the fact that they are helping to promote a Christian movie and help make it money. To me, that's not how I roll. I roll on quality. And this film isn't quality. You know, my problem with Overcomer comes down to the filmmaking, as well as the story and character. I'll get into all, but for now, the filmmaking. I think that the camera angle, the camera shot, I should say, in the beginning, was good. Everything else, the camera shots with the cinematography were very bland looking. Sometimes it was trying to be all like, fancy, but it didn't really work given the situation. Other times it wasn't interesting, and when it wasn't, that's when it should have been interesting. The sound design was also very awkward, as well as the score. I mean, there wasn't really a balance to the score. Like, it just kind of felt like it was trying to be very emotional, and it had a lot of Christian songs in it. And I have nothing against Christian songs per se, but during the times, it just kind of felt like feel emotions, feel emotions. It's kind of like when you're watching sitcoms, like Friends or whatnot, and there's just laughing in the background. You're like, oh, you're trying to tell me how I should feel. And I don't know. I don't like that personally in movies. It just reminds me of like ABC shows. Like when I watched How to Get Away with Murder, they would do that. I'm just like, no, 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 that's not me. And maybe it's just my style, but I just don't think it's very smart of the filmmaker to do, other than they know that certain people are able to pry into that and they get very emotional. Doesn't work for me personally, as most of you probably know. Also, the dialogue really isn't that convincing. I hate to say it, but the dialogue and the script writing is pretty poor, honestly. It's below average. Like, there were many situations where it feels like it's straight out of a comedy. When I say that, if you've been following my channel, you know that with comedies, I always say the filmmakers try to throw so much comedy and then they get really serious. And I'm not saying this movie throws a lot of comedy, but it's very light until it's not light towards the end. And all of a sudden, characters start doing things because the situation and the story propels it to do that instead of the characters and it feeling organic. That's not my style. I don't like it when a movie does that. Personally, I feel like it's not good filmmaking. But that's just me personally. films in general are very subjective, and given the audience I was with, this is a crowd-pleasing movie. This is a movie that audiences do love. If you're able to shut your brain off with filmmaking, character development, and story, you'll probably enjoy this movie. I just personally, again, I've said this before, but I do not think the messages of the movie should outweigh the fact that everything else is terrible. That's just not me. But going into that, I don't think the message of this movie is that interesting. In fact, I think that it's very black and white, and I just don't like black and white messages. Because to me personally, it doesn't really give that much room for insight. It gives, oh, this is the right way, this is the wrong way, and it's like, well, wait a minute. What happens if there's a middle ground? You know, and I feel like movies like these don't really have that. They don't have a middle ground for insight so that you as an audience member can take it in, see both sides, see that there's a middle ground. And there are plenty of times where movies don't have characters that are very gray. I mean, some of my favorite movies do that. I mean, you got Carol, Sicario from a couple years ago, Spotlight. You know, movies that have characters that are very gray give room for interpretation. And that's why I love those type of movies. But for a movie like Overcomer that doesn't really give that, I don't know. To me personally, it stinks. And the ending personally, oh my goodness. Ugh. Really? That's how you're going to end your movie? I don't know. To me personally, it just felt very fake, forced, and just very, I don't know, like cable TV. Like not even cable TV, but like the type of TV you would watch like at 12 o'clock at midnight to just fall asleep because you have nothing else to do. Again, that's just me personally. And I'm just saying this right now. You know, there are people going to be watching this video that are like, you know what? I disagree with Chad. And they're going to start writing out comments about how I don't know what I'm talking about. Save those comments, because here's the thing. This movie is geared towards Christians. And I'm just saying this right now. I'm sick and tired of the hypocrisy. You know, I'm just being honest right now. Well, throughout the review, I've been honest. But check out my Samson review, my own plane review. I have different opinions than other people. And because I have different opinions, you know what happens? I get hate comments. I don't need that. If you're going to have hate comments, actually back it up instead of having these things about, like, subjective things. You know, like, filmmaking is subjective. Me personally, I didn't like this movie. That's fine. If you like this movie, that's fine. Comment section down below. You can easily say, oh, yeah, I like this movie. I'm not going to get angry at you. It's your opinion, bro, and that's completely cool. You know, we all have different opinions. And that's what's great about this world, is that we should all be able to have our own opinions, get along, and just move on with our day. Me personally, though, Overcomer, as you guys already know, I didn't like this movie. Wasn't a fan of it. I think it's one of the worst I've seen this year. I think that there was a lot of potential. It had a good tracking shot. I respect the fact that the Kendrick brothers are able to make a movie off of $1 million and make like $50 million and have a lot of pocket money. That's cool. That's cool. But for me personally, Overcomer, it just wasn't my cup of tea, and that's why me personally, I'll be giving Overcomer a 1 out of 5 star rating, which, yeah, no hot sauce rating. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Overcomer. And again, if you have anything negative to say about my opinions, I'm sure I'll give them in the comment section down below. I don't know why. I said it in my own plane review where it's just like, oh, like, you know, I had someone tell me to go abort myself. I guess I didn't do that. I didn't take that person's advice. But in all seriousness, just comment section down below. Keep it respectable. It's a professional environment. Like, we all just got to get along, you know? But again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What's your favorite Kendrick Brothers movie? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and I'll catch you guys later.